Welcome to This Open House, where we talk about all things real estate related, with your hosts David and Rebecca Guthrie of the Hacienda Group at Long Realty Company.
Hey guys, welcome to This Open House show. I am Rebecca Guthrie of the Hacienda Group at Long Realty Company, and I am all by myself today. David had some things that needed to happen, and so I get to do this all by my lonesome, so it's just going to be you and me today. If you want to get a hold of us after the show, you can email us at info@thisopenhouseshow. You can visit our website at www.thisopenhouseshow.com, or you can call us at 520-462-2611, because we always love to talk to you. So as we always do, and usually David does this part of the show, so... and he takes way too long, and then I interrupt. And so today it's just going to go super fast because I have a whole bunch of stuff that I want to talk about today. So prior 4 to 6 months, the median sales price in the city of Tucson was $2,000, or excuse me, it would be really nice if it was $2,770, but it's not. It's $277,000. Last 3 months, it's $295,000, and we are up from September 7th. We had 1,080 listings, and as of September 14th, when these stats were pulled, there are 100. Like messing up my numbers today. Oh my goodness, this is why David does it. There are 1,150 current active listings. Days on market is up from 4 days to 5 days, and right now properties are getting 101% of list. So what that tells you, if you are a seller right now and your house has been sitting on the market for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, longer, you probably need to look at your price, because we're still at 5 days average on market, and you've, even in this rapidly increasing appreciated market, you are probably overpriced. So you should look at that. Median rents is renting, a median 3-bed rent is going for $1,600 a month. The median sales price, like we mentioned earlier, for the last 3 months was $275,000. So if you are putting 20% down and you've got good credit, your payments, interest, taxes, and insurance is going to be around $1,260 a month. So that is a savings for you of $340 a month, which is quite a lot. So it's still better to buy rather than rent in the city of Tucson as of right now. All right, so that is here's how the market's doing. We've talked about this a lot in the past episodes, but we were talking about how the market was at a rolling boil, and now it is at a soft boil. So you can make candy in it. What does that mean for you as a seller? What does that mean for you as a buyer? All of that stuff. If you want to talk to us and get more detailed personal information, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, you should feel free to call or text at 520-462-2611. All right, so I have 20 minutes today to tell you how wonderful Tucson is. That's what we're going to talk about today. I am practically a Tucson native. My family moved here from Central Coast, California when I was 3. So I pretty much grew up here, and I went to school here. And one of the things that old timers in Tucson, of which I call myself one because I've been here for 31 years, is that there's nothing to do in Tucson. And as a teenager, there was absolutely nothing to do in Tucson. But that's really not true anymore. It's really, and it actually truthfully wasn't even true when I was complaining about it as a 14-year-old. It just felt that way. But we wanted to take today to really drill down into what is there to do in Tucson. From the art scene to the hiking to the music scene to all of the other things. And so that is what we are going to talk about today. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about, just because this is near and dear to my heart, is the Tucson Pops Orchestra. So the Tucson Pops Orchestra is a orchestra that provides free concerts in the spring and in the fall at the DeMinster Amphitheater at Reed Park. The concerts are on Sundays, starting at 7, so they go from about 7 to 9, and they're free. You just show up. We bring our kids, we bring blankets, we bring chairs, we bring food, and we just enjoy, their trademark is Music Under the Stars. And the reason that this is near and dear to my heart is that I used to be the executive director for the Tucson Pops Orchestra. And then David got really very busy in real estate and needed management, and I'm bossy and good at management. So he said to me, "Hey, can you come help me?" And I said, but, and he said, "We need to feed our children, and nonprofit jobs don't make as much money as real estate agents." And I said, but. And so for 18 months, I did both. And then finally it got to the point where I just, I have an intolerance of doing things poorly, and I was doing both jobs poorly. So I said to the Pops, I have to go help feed my children because they want to eat on a regular basis, which is really irritating. But it is what it is, and I want them to stay alive, and I want to keep them, so I make money to help feed them. Anyways, so all of that to be said, I really love the Pops, and we weren't able to do shows for 18 months or concerts for 18 months because of COVID, so we missed all of the 2020 and then spring of 2021, but they're back. The first show is last Sunday, and the next show will be tomorrow at 7 p.m. So I highly encourage you to go. And you can always find us. We sit on the east side in front of the Tucson Pops booth a little way up the hill, so you can come find us and tell us how much you love the show. If you don't like the show, don't come find us. We don't want to know about it. Along that lines, there's also Laszlo Verish, who is the Tucson Pops conductor, also has a concert group called the Arizona Symphonic Winds, and they perform at Udall Park at the Laszlo Verish Amphitheater, which was named in his honor, on Saturdays at 7 p.m. And they're going to be there from this Saturday, so tonight, next week, the following week, and I think the first week in October, if I'm remembering correctly. So that is super exciting. And that is not a professional orchestra. They have professional musicians, and they also have people who are much better musicians than I am, but not professionals, play. And it's a lot of fun. And again, bring chairs, bring blankets, bring food, and enjoy. So I used to be a professional ballerina, and I also used to get paid to act. And so musical theater things are very much in my wheelhouse and something that I care a great deal about. So you guys get to hear about it because I'm all by myself in the studio today. And so Broadway in Tucson actually has an amazing lineup this year. And I'm pulling up the website right now because I can't remember everything that they have. And of course it's not working, so it doesn't matter. I will remember off the top of my head. So of the shows that I remember that we have tickets for, and nobody tell David because some of these are surprises, we are going to go see My Fair Lady. We are going to go see Wicked, which I will readily admit I'm super excited about. Oh, John is being amazing, and he's pulling them up for me. We are going to, there's, I believe Hamilton's coming. There is Out of Town, which is a musical that was based on, and this is actually really cool, and I'd never heard of this before I went and looked up the show, because I was looking up what tickets we wanted. They actually have From Far Away, or From Away, I can't remember what it's called, but it's about an airplane that lands in this tiny town in Canada after the Twin Towers were hit. These Canadians had all of these American planes land in their airfield, and there were actually more people in from the passengers of the plane than there were in the city or in the town that was in Canada that landed. And you know, we forget, because there's all of this stuff that we fill in after the fact, but we forget that in those first days after 9/11, what we didn't know. We didn't know all of the things that we know now, that we've sort of filled the backstory in. But in those days, I remember, I was 14 and it's seared into my memory, but I remember nobody knew when we could go home. My dad was on the other side of the country. He couldn't get a plane because the plane, I don't know if you guys remember how quiet the airspace was. There were no airplanes. And so this is a musical about that, which I thought was really very cool. So there's a whole bunch of stuff happening Broadway in Tucson all throughout. And actually, if you go look at their calendar, because of all of the cancellations and when they're filling stuff in, they actually have shows going through July 2021. So usually our shows in Tucson shuts down in June. Everybody knows this. School ends, college kids go home, June, July, beginning of August. It's really quiet. There's not as much to do. And then you come back and all of the seasons start. It would be remiss of me to not mention the Tucson Symphony Orchestra. We also have the chamber music. We also have, and this is wonderful. If you guys have never been to the Tucson Jazz Festival, you must go to the Tucson Jazz Festival. It's if you like, even if you don't like jazz, though I've never met, if there's something wrong with you if you don't like jazz, I'm sorry. I know we're not supposed to have political opinions on a real estate show. David's probably going to talk to me about this later. But if you don't like jazz, I'm sorry. There is actually something wrong with you. So, but the Jazz Festival, the artists that they bring in, it's fantastic. So in January, February, that will be happening, and you should definitely check that out. So there's a whole arts scene, music arts, musical theater. You should check out Ballet Tucson. It's the professional ballet company in Tucson. I bet you guys didn't know we had professional ballet, but we do, and it's wonderful. Mary Beth over at Ballet Tucson has created an amazing program. There's just all of those kinds of things that we forget to go look. And so I highly encourage you to go look at that. You also can go look at the Fox Theater. The Rialto always has some fun things. And also the casinos are bringing in big acts again. And so there's all of that stuff. So just, I before we go to the break, I want to just encourage you. Performing arts is coming back, and performing arts need audience members. Audiences need to watch the performers, and the performers need the audience. It's the synergy that's just amazing. And so if it's been a while, well, obviously it's been a while because 2020 happened. But I highly encourage you to take a minute and to go look and see and find a couple of live performances, because there's just something magical about sitting in a theater and watching a live performance as opposed to watching it on our TV, because we've watched way too many things on our TV in the last 18 months. So we're going to head into a break. And on the other side, we're going to talk about more wonderful things to do in Tucson. So don't go away.
Are you interested in the real estate market? What does low inventory actually mean? Funny, real-life real estate stories and things you should never do if you're looking to buy or sell a home. Join me, David Guthrie, and my wife, Rebecca Guthrie. We are full-time real estate agents with the Hacienda Group at Long Realty Company for this open house on Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. on 1030 The Voice, where we will discuss all this and more. That's This Open House on Saturdays at 11 on 1030 The Voice.
And welcome back to This Open House Show. I am Rebecca Guthrie at the Hacienda Group at Long Realty Company, and I am all by myself today because David had other things that needed to happen in our life in order for our life to function. If you want to get a hold of us, you can give us a phone call or a text message at 520-462-2611. You can also email us at info@thisopenhouseshow.com. Every time David or I say that contact info, I always want to add pigeon carriers. Like, we give all of these different ways that you can get a hold of us. And I'm like, it would be cool if we could do pigeon carriers, or, send us a telegraph, or, but we don't have that. So phone, email, text, that's how you can get a hold of us. So today, because I'm all by myself and this is my thing, we spend a lot of time on this open house show talking about real estate, but part of why you care about real estate is because it's where you live, and you pick where you live in part based on the things that are there that are amenities that you like. And so the first half we were talking about all of the musical theater performance, all of those kinds of things, and I'm highly encouraging you to go out and fill your soul with live performances because they're magical and deeply ingrained into my heart of what people need in order to be human. But I want to talk more about, so we have the U of A with all of the things that the U of A offers. So obviously there's the big ones. There's the basketball and the football and all of the baseball and all of the sports stuff. I am not a sports ball person. I pretend to be a sports ball person. I'm not really a sports ball person. I know just enough to be dangerous, but not enough to actually really fully understand what I'm watching, other than it's important that you kick the ball into the basket, or whatever. So, but I would encourage you, there's a lot of things outside of that the University of Arizona offers. So you may not know that they have lecture series that are open to the public that you can Google and go to the lecture series. And they've got some amazing lectures. I mean, we've got some really cool professors. And I'm a firm believer, as Stephen Hopkins says in the musical 1776, that there's no idea so scary we can't even talk about it. So I'm a firm believer in going to lectures with somebody whose opinion you may not 100% agree with, just to learn. Because I think that we've lost that as a society. I think we've lost the ability to listen to somebody that we might not necessarily agree with and come up with an understanding of why they think what they think. And so the lecture series are fantastic. If you haven't been to the planetarium in a while, you should go to the planetarium. The Fox School of Music, again, going back to performing arts, has all kinds of performances that are not very expensive, actually, because they're student musicians. But when we say student musicians, most of these people who are playing, they're, either undergrads or they're graduate music students. Some of these people have been playing for 20 years, so they're still technically students, but I'm sorry, they're very, very, very good. The dance, they have a dance program. They have a theater program. There's lots of stuff. The museum has a couple. The U of A has a couple of museums. So just like go to the university and look at what just the university as a whole offers, and you'll find a lot of great stuff that we don't take a lot of advantage of. A lot of people just get into their day-to-day routine and don't really think about it, and it ends up being our snowbirds who take way more advantage of it than the people that live here on a regular basis. So we always highly encourage Tucsonans who live here all the time to participate and engage with those things. We've got a bunch of different museums. I bet you didn't know that we had a Holocaust museum in Tucson. We do. Go visit it. It's worth remembering what it is that happens and how it is that things like the Holocaust don't happen over the night. They're slow inconveniences that build into large inconveniences that build into loading people onto trains. And I think that that is worth remembering. It is worth remembering that it takes small steps that all of a sudden get you to mass annihilation of a people group. So go check that out. We've got a great art museum. Fun fact, David and I got married at the Tucson Museum of Art. We have a special place for the Tucson Museum of Art because we got married there before the new wing got put in. So where we actually got married is actually now part of the museum as opposed to the courtyard, but it's still beautiful. And if you've never been to Cafe a la carte and eaten there, they cater everything for us. Whenever we have a party, they cater everything because the food is amazing. So you should go there. So that's art, that's lecturing. We do have a hockey team. I could not tell you the rules of hockey, and I don't know why Tucson has a hockey team, but I'm told it's a lot of fun, and I'm told that we're actually quite good. So you should go check out a hockey game. And then we get to the outdoor stuff. So a lot of people, when we're selling houses to out-of-towners who are looking for a new place to live, especially in the last 18 months with all of the inside stuff that had to happen with the lockdowns and everything, and then wanting to be out, we have amazing hiking. And we have natural desert hiking, or we can go up to Mount Lemmon. I read once that the drive from the bottom of the Catalina Mountains to the top of the Catalina Mountains in that hour that it takes is the equivalent of driving from Mexico to Canada in terms of the way that the terrain changes. At the top, it's much more like Canada and north and higher up in the United States, and at the bottom, it's obviously desert right by the Sonoran Desert. So that's worth doing. Sabino Canyon has running water right now, which is a lot of fun, especially if you have small children who can't stay out of the running water. Make sure you bring changes of clothes, because I made that mistake. And The walk in is fine, but the walk back when everybody's sopping wet, not so much fun. So you're going to want to take a change of clothes if you or anyone who's going with you is going to get in the water. Let's see, what else? So in February, remember that rodeo comes. Lord willing and the creek don't rise, that will happen. So there's just a lot of stuff to do in Tucson. Tucson Lifestyle magazine actually has a really awesome event calendar. If you're looking for something to do, there's always they always have all of the events, and they also show you. I talked about some of the big performing arts stuff, but maybe you haven't been to the Gaslight Theater or Rogue Theater or Invisible Theater. I'm totally on a theater kick right now because I'm just so excited about being able to go to live performances. It's not even funny. And it also is the thing that makes me happy. So you get to hear about the thing that makes me happy. But I want at the end of this, with the 5 minutes we have left before the show is over, and it always goes so fast, I want you to take a minute and think about what it is that are your favorite things in Tucson, why they're your favorite things in Tucson, and when was the last time you participated in them. Because I feel like in the last 18 months, there's been a lot of, we haven't done stuff and we've forgotten about it. So maybe it's a restaurant. Maybe it's one of your favorite restaurants that you haven't been to in a while for whatever reason. Or maybe it is going to a football game or in a basketball game, or maybe it's going to live performances, or maybe it's taking a hike, or whatever it is for you. It's important, I think, for us to ground ourselves in why it is that #why I love where I live. There's a reason that that's a hashtag that Tucsonans use so much. It's because Southern Arizona is a fantastic place to live. We have so much in terms of, we have the culture side of it, we have the foodie side of it. You may not know that Tucson was the first U.S. city to be named a gastronomic, I totally butchered that word, city. Basically, we've got the best food in the United States. UNESCO said so. So go participate in that food, the culture of our food. You might not know, going back to the university, you might not know that the university offers gardening classes. Gardening in Tucson is different than gardening elsewhere, but there's a lot of really cool things that are happening in the gardening world, especially in terms of the water usage, because people are concerned about that because we live in a desert. So just what I want you to take away from this show, what I hope that you take away from this show is that, unlike what my 14-year-old self was saying, where I was bemoaning the fact that there was absolutely nothing to do in Tucson and it was so boring and I couldn't wait to get out of here. My plan was to go to California and never come back. And, we see how well that worked. But there's a reason. It's because Tucson is a uniquely equipped place that offers so much variety, and there really is a ton to do here. So I highly, highly, highly encourage you to do that. In the last couple minutes that we have, I wanted to talk briefly about, we're getting this question a lot, which is now a good time to buy? And we only have a little bit of time, but you guys get to listen to this rant really fast. We don't have a crystal ball. We don't have one. We wish we did, but we don't. And people keep telling us, oh, we are going to just wait for the market to cool down. We're going to wait for the market to cool down. Well, we're going to wait for the market to cool down. Well, the market's cooling, but the prices are still going up. And people have been asking us a lot about foreclosures. Well, I just read a Wall Street Journal article today that talked about the fact that foreclosures are 22% below where they were at the peak of when I'm going to butcher this. They are below. That's what it was. They are 22. They are at a 22-year low in terms of foreclosures. And part of what we look at is how many trustees sales are happening. How many people are are being approached saying, hey, you're delinquent on your mortgage. And title companies, to get real estate business, send this list out every single month. And they send it so that if you wanted to go advertise to these people, you could. And so they put them in mailing lists. And right now, as of this month, when we got the ones from the title companies that they all send, there were 15 people who were slightly delinquent on their mortgage who were being sent to sale for foreclosure. What that means is that we're just not having the kinds of foreclosures that people are happening. So if you're waiting for the market to cool down, you might be waiting a while, and the foreclosures that you're expecting to come probably aren't coming the way that you think they are, because that's just not what the data is showing us. So that's just a little spiel right now. Anyways, we are down to our last 30 seconds of the show. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, or hanging out with me. Next week, Dave will be back. If you want to get a hold of us, again, it's 520-462-2611 or info@thisopenhouse.show. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you enjoyed this show, please reach out and let us know. I hope you have a great week. Hope to see you tomorrow at the Pops.